I'm Patrick, and this is my girlfriend Anya. And today we are going to one of the most iconic four-wheel drive destinations in Australia, Fraser Island. But first, we gotta drive there. We live in Victoria, so for us it's gonna be around a 5,000 kilometre round journey. We are in a 31-year-old Toyota Land Cruiser that I have repaired, modified and loved over the last year, and this is by far its biggest test to date. Sit back, relax and watch as things take a wild turn. Things don't always go to plan.
How? Why?
That's what we did.
But you gotta stick the course, and you'll get to paradise on the other side. Get subscribed because this story is too big to tell in one episode, but this is our 2022 Fraser Island trip.
I reckon it's gonna be...
My guess is 3.3.
3.3.
Okay, 3.2.
I reckon 3.1. I reckon 3.1 done. Oh, 316. That's a scary illegal number. 200 kilos over GVM, fully loaded. I mean, the only thing you can do next is GVM upgrade. I mean, that's the only thing I can do. I feel like a lot of people are over GVM and that.
But only 100 kilometres out of Melbourne, I noticed an issue.
So what's basically happening is the oil pressure gauge has just dropped way off, and usually it's sits pretty low on a Toyota, especially the 80 series. It's known that the gauges aren't great, but when you're under load, it should pop up above the low mark, and right now it's just sitting real low. So I'm gonna give it a run and just see if it'll rise. I'm running the exact same oil I usually run, but it's at it's obviously at temperature now. And I just checked all the filters all tight and everything because I did service it yesterday. I don't know, I think it's gonna be okay because I just looked over the engine and it all looked pretty good. There's no visible signs of oil exiting the engine. So I figured I might just check the engine oil just to be double 100% sure, even though, I checked it last night. Yeah, there's tons in it. Obviously you should let it sit for a bit to get a true accurate reading, but there's oil in it. There's oil in it, plenty, if not too much. Obviously, you just want to keep an eye on that oil pressure because if the engine loses oil, well, it's not going to be a good day, is it? So you got to make sure there's enough oil in there. And yeah, it seems like there's plenty in there, so I don't know, maybe the sensor's being a bit weird, but we'll keep driving, keep an eye on it, and yeah, it should be all good.
After about 5 minutes of driving, the gauge sprung back to life, so I was pretty confident it was just a gauge issue. So we trucked along into late afternoon until we heard a weird message on the UHF radio.
Evening, Patrick. How you doing?
Oh, shit. How you going?
Good. Good to see that rooftop still going.
Yeah, no, she's still on. I haven't tracked my fuel economy yet, so we'll see how she's going. But she's still on.
Yeah. Also, my other guys down at OCAM, they've done a few things for my old Pajero of all things.
Oh, fair dinkum. Yeah, no, they're a good bunch of blokes down there.
Yeah, top notch. But you have a good trip. I heard you were going north. Have a good trip, and yeah, stay safe.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Yeah, Fraser Island, so should be a good trip.
Awesome stuff.
Freaky. Yeah, he's throwing one of these trucks or something. That's pretty cool. Get called up on the radio. So it might be a little bit hard to see me, but right now I'm standing on the Murray River. Right now we're at Richardson's Bend Campground, which is just outside Albury-Wodonga on the Murray River. And yeah, it's crazy how much different this place is since I've last been here, which is about a year ago. They've had massive floods through here. All the sand's been washed out. The river's way down, and where usually I'd be walking around the river right now, all the sand's exposed. So pretty crazy, but no one else is here. We have the camp place literally to ourselves, so just quickly set up camp. Literally, this is the first time you ever camping with this thing, and I cannot stress enough how much easier this is. Like, I think it took us a couple minutes to get the whole thing set up. And yeah, it's beautiful. So just out here, gonna take some photos of everything and just sort of enjoy the rest of the night. Yeah, wake up tomorrow and get into it.
Waking up alongside the Murray River will never get old. It's one of the world's longest navigatable rivers at 2,700 kilometres, starts up at the Great Dividing Ranges and ends at the ocean out near the Coorong system in South Australia.
How'd you sleep?
Yes, that's a Kmart coffee machine, but trust me, we're not too far gone yet. That machine does not last long.
Yeah. It's sort of burnt and weak at the same time.
80 litres later, we're on the road heading north.
So we're here at Wagga Wagga alongside the mighty Murrumbidgee River. So that's two massive mega rivers we've seen in the past 24 hours, the Murray and now the Murrumbidgee. These rivers are like the livelihoods of these rural towns, and it was like part of the Snowy Hydro project was actually the idea to bring more water out to these regions where they're farming and that had massive drought. So all of this water, well, not all of it, but a majority of this water is alpine runoff from, you know, Kosciuszko National Park, the high country system, and then it all finally comes in, flows through Canberra, Wagga Wagga, keeps going, and eventually this flows into the Murray River, which is insane. So yeah, just crazy big rivers carrying so much water. And we're here at Wagga Beach, which is like a little beach area where you can swim and do that, and it's really pretty, but as you can see, the water's way up. So yeah, awesome spot and awesome bakery pies. So still got 2 hours and 44 minutes left till Dubbo, and I guess we're sort of just beginning to realise just how big Australia is by this point. There's a lot of driving involved in going to Fraser or going north in general. We're doing a lot of back roads at the moment. Apparently Google reckons that this is the fastest way, so and then I think we're going to get in the freeway and we'll be on there for a while. But yeah, it's just a lot of driving and yeah, a lot of paddocks. We got a road hazard. Google Maps doesn't account for sheep. Oh, there's two that are loose. Oh, no, the dog's putting them in line.
Like they're bumping into the fence and then coming back.
Yeah.
Doing these trips definitely helps to give you an appreciation of just how big Australia is. So far we had driven 6 hours until we stopped at a place I was really excited to visit.
There was no way I was gonna miss this. So if you're ever passing through parks, you have to stop in and have a look at the CSIRO Space Telescope. Now this is the same telescope they used to transmit the signals when man first walked on the moon in 1969 to our TV screens. This was a telescope that received the signals and then broadcast it to the rest of the world. So it's such an important part of like the whole Apollo history and the space history, and just be able to come here and stand here in person and see it is just insane. And yeah, you have to see it in person. It's awesome. And to think this thing is 80 years old, like this technology was just so ahead of its time. It's, as you can see, I'm blown away by this, and I absolutely love this sort of stuff. And yeah, highly recommend Parks Observatory, get down here.
Back on the road, heading towards Dubbo, we got a stark reminder of what can happen on these roads.
Jesus. Entire semi-truck just gone over. Oh my god.
I hope the people are okay.
Yeah, I reckon.
Later that night, we arrived at Dubbo and camped at a roadside stop just north of the township. It wasn't anything special, but we just found a bit of half-even ground, set up the tent, and crashed there the night.
So we're just outside Dubbo along the Macquarie River. We've got a bit of water in it right now, it's falling pretty hard. But yeah, today's mission is to drive to Queensland. So we packed up super early. It's about 6:40 now, 6:50. Just because I saw rain coming on the radar. So we're all packed up. We're gonna jump on the road, start tracking north. So let's get into it. The locals are on the road.
We actually ended up turning off the freeway and headed west out to a place called the Warrumbungle National Park.
Alright, so we're at Warrumbungle National Park, which Warrumbungle means crooked mountain. So we're surrounded by all these crazy mountain formations, which is just like, yeah, they're pretty freaky. You feel like you're up in Northern Territory or something. And I never even knew this place existed, but we just saw a little turn off on the main highway and thought, screw it, let's go check it out. And it is insane. The weather's not great, but there'd be so many cool hikes to do up here.
After seeing all this ancient volcanic activity at the Warrumbungle National Park, we pushed on to Coonabarabran, stopped at the bakery there, and then headed north towards Goondiwindi.
With panicking on a car, that those trucks come at you, okay?
Yeah. So far on this trip, we've done about 1,400 kilometers, and we're just about to cross over the border into Queensland. We're pulling into a town called Goondiwindi, just over the McIntyre River. And yeah, even though it's only 3 o'clock, we'll probably stay here tonight because we're absolutely knackered. We're gonna want to have showers and stuff. So we'll probably stay at a caravan park, have some showers, get a good feed, which leaves us tomorrow for our last day on the road before we arrive at Gympie, which is up there near Rainbow Beach, Inskip Point, Fraser Island, all that. So super excited. We're nearly on the home stretch. Let's get to Queensland. State border Queensland. Let's go. Yeah. We made it. Look at the palm trees. 2 palm trees, 3 palm trees.
How many palm trees have you seen so far?
I've lost count, mate.
It was a bit of a wet day in Goondiwindi and we sort of felt like a home-cooked meal, so we got some groceries from Coles and headed to our campsite at the showgrounds.
Alright, so we're here at Goondiwindi. We're actually just pulling up tonight at the showgrounds, which is, if you don't know, most showgrounds in most regional towns are sort of camping spots. You can go camp there. Usually you have to pay 10 to 15 bucks, but they've got showers, toilets, the whole nine. So, and you can get power here and usually water refills too. But yeah, we're mainly just here to have a shower. That's sort of the whole idea of paying. Otherwise, I'd probably just do a free camp down the river somewhere. But yeah, it'd be good to have a nice warm shower, fill up the jerry cans, and yeah, so we're gonna cook dinner tonight out the back of the 80. Should be fun, so let's get on to it.
Setting up camp now is just ridiculously easy. All you really gotta do is find some level ground and you're ready to go.
Alright, so a quick report on the rooftop tent, how it's been. So today, obviously, we travelled from Dubbo up to here in basically full-on rain the entire time it pelted down, and there's no water inside the tent so far, so really good. As you can probably tell, tonight's going to be a pretty windy night in Goondiwindi, so I'll be able to give you a pretty good comprehensive thought on how it goes tonight. It was pretty windy last night. The front awning, flaps a little bit, but it's honestly not too bad. I know I'm not gonna get blown away up there, which is my, biggest concern. I will, however, be keeping an eye on that awning because if anything's gonna go, it's gonna be that awning. But yeah, all set up now in about 30 seconds, so I can't complain about that. So I thought I'd share with you guys some interesting data I've got on our fuel economy. So I filled up yesterday and I worked out the math of how many liters per 100 we're getting. Now, obviously, it's changed because we've added a rooftop tent on, so that, and I've also got a bit more weight. I'm carrying like 60 liters of water, a partner, all the clothing, all the stuff. There's more weight on board, but I think the biggest factor really is the wind resistance, which obviously is a huge factor in vehicles. There's a reason race cars aren't shaped like these cars are. So yeah, so my old fuel economy, this is so with the old cage roof rack on. I measured this when me and Liam did our Victorian high country trip. I was averaging around 12.5 to 12.75 litres per 100. I filled up last night after doing highway driving. I did nearly 800 Ks or something, and I was averaging 13.2 litres per 100. So, that's a 0.5 increase in fuel economy. So that's obviously, coming from the tent. So I think that was to sort of be expected. You can't really go ahead and put someone on your roof like that and not expect your fuel economy to change. For a car like this, it's 30 years old, diesel, really quite heavily and shaped like a brick, 13.2 is pretty good. And, being the turbo and stuff, it's still got really good power up hills. Like, I'm still able to overtake, no worries. So yeah, the old bus doesn't go too bad. I will say, however, I'm not traveling at 110 kilometers an hour the entire time in this car. When I'm on the freeways, I usually try and travel, at least 10 Ks below the speed limit. I mean, this thing isn't exactly aerodynamic, so, the little bit slower I can go adds up heaps in the fuel economy in the day. Try and keep the revs down, try and keep all the gearing right, and that's how you average the best fuel economy. Of course, good tire pressures in your tires, all that stuff helps as well. But yeah, just doing, not doing 110 the entire time helps a heap. But yeah, we're 3 days in. I've traveled 1,400 kilometers and the car's been fantastic so far. I've had no issues with it. It's driven like a dream this trip. It's driving super straight. I'm honestly really happy with it all. So hopefully it behaves like that for the rest of the trip. And as tonight is going to be a bit windy, that leads us on to a perfect use for our induction cooker. So yeah, we're making spaghetti bolognese, so we'll need 2 heat sources anyway. And what better way to use this wind to test out the induction cooker. So this is a $20 butane burner, and this is a $50 induction cooker. Now, which one should you buy? From the research I've done, the butane always wins. If you just want to cook food, the butane's the way to go. I'm trying this because I've got a 120 amp hour lithium battery in my setup now. I've got a pretty comprehensive 12 volt system. I want to put it to the test. I want to see, like, on nights where I'm on the road, you know, going to a new spot every day, would it be easier just to whip out the induction cooker, cook a meal on here, you know, when it's windy, that doesn't matter, quickly smash out a meal on here than, you know, having to bring out the old butane burner. Press that once, and now this is your wattage. So now it'll instantly start getting hot.
I can feel it.
We're drawing probably around 45 amps-ish. The Travel Buddy's also running, got doing our garlic bread. So together, all up, we're drawing 53 amps off the system. Wheel the battery, cut out.
It's sizzling a bit almost.
Oh, ah. We lost power immediately.
I'll just keep it on the lower.
Keep it on like 1,000. It's actually doing it.
Again.
It's doing it just. It's not really great though. Alright, we've just done something sacrilegious. We've had to turn on the car. It kept shutting off at 800. It'd do it for like probably 3 or 4 minutes and then it just cut off and then you have to, you know, restart. Do it for that 3 or 4 minutes, cut off.
Bring it up to 16, is that okay?
Yeah, we'll just see if we can handle it. Pulling 68.
I'm just bringing it up.
Oh.
So we're just going to leave it at 14.
Leave it at 14. Leave it at 14. I don't think the King's battery like that. Because, yeah, our issue isn't so much that we don't have enough power on board. Like, we've got 120 amps of energy stored in that battery. The problem is we can't pull enough out at once to, you know, power these high voltage AC appliances. So when we're trying to pull like 1100 watts, 1200 watts off the induction cooker, the battery itself and the BMS setup simply doesn't have enough, you know, oomph to push out that much power. That's awesome, I know.
Yeah?
How good is this? Alright, good morning all. Last night it rained. Like not heaps, but enough. Like it was light rain pretty much consistently the whole night. And well, we got a bit of water in the tent. And I don't know if this is our fault or not. It really could be our fault. We had the window cracked probably halfway, and what I think's happened is rain sort of come through the fly screen, and then it's had it collected and then dripped off where the zippers meet. So that side's wet and this side's wet, which is kind of annoying. The other sides are all dry, so I think it was because we left the window open. I hope so. Annoying, but yeah, we'll just deal with it and try and dry it. Just fill in the jerry cans. Oh, it's very muddy today, as you can see, but when there's a tap, use it. They're like massive diesel generators or something. Alright, so we're here today driving to Gympie. We're on the Lee Charge Highway or something like that, I think it's called. And it's wet, and this road is actually in pretty poor condition. There's massive signs saying, you know, road subject to flooding, like there's massive, like, they only have it open when it's suitable to, just like that. It's like, so it's a really bad road, and yeah, it's just because of all the rain they've had recently up here. Like I think they actually said in the news yesterday that they had the most amount of rainfall for May up in Queensland that they've ever had on record. So yeah, there's just so much water on the roads, and these roads are in a bad state. But they're still open, so apparently the floodwaters haven't reached here yet, so we're able to travel along it. But yeah, there's just water everywhere, and there's so many big trucks too, like so many oversized trucks coming through. But yeah, it's exciting. We've got about 500k to do today, and yeah, it's awesome to be in Queensland. It's such a different environment to where we are in Victoria. Hopefully get to Gympie today, and yeah, then on to Fraser, so let's go.
The further north we went, the wetter it seemed to become. The roads were becoming more and more flooded, and with more rain on the way, we weren't sure whether we were going to be able to make it to Gympie. But there was hope. We could see a small patch of blue sky in the distance, and we were hot on its tail.
I'm not convinced we're in Australia anymore.
As we began to drive east, the landscape quickly changed into an environment very different to what we have back at home. It was lush, green, tropical, boab trees. It was something very, very different.
A little bit of sun.
We chased and chased and chased the blue sky, but just could not catch it. By the time we got to Gympie, we realized why.
So essentially the township's flooding right now, and we don't have anywhere to go. They've already closed off multiple roads and bridges because the water's rising too high. I just got a text message on my phone saying that, you know, Washanak apparently meant to get tons of rain tonight. So we don't really know where to go because we already called a bunch of caravan parks. They're not letting people in because they reckon the water's coming up too high. I don't really want to be in the rooftop tent because if it gets all soaked and destroyed tonight, then it's going to be like a nightmare to try and dry out before we go to Fraser, because we're meant to be on Fraser in 2 nights. We're not meant to be on Fraser on the 15th, tonight's the 12th, so we haven't got long until our first booking. So I'm just trying to keep the whole setup dry and keep it out of flood water, because this water's literally rising. Like, that's literally going, I'm watching the water come up as we talk, so I don't know. And then the hard thing, there's a massive river that goes like through town, and if I'm on the wrong side of the river, I'm not gonna be able to get up to Rainbow Beach. So I'm trying to like work out in my head what side we can be on where we're gonna be able to actually get out. So Queensland, mate, ugh, flooding. We don't have this down in Melbourne. We don't have floods. It's just rare things. I'm trying to work around it.
As we got later into the evening, the weather became worse and worse. So we made the executive decision to head to Noosa, because if worst case we got trapped, at least we'd be somewhere nice for a couple of days.
I don't know how this day has got to where it is today, but I'm ready to collapse at this point. I've had a big day, driven a long way. This poor 80 series, I've done like 2,000 Ks. It's just been a rough day.
So we ended
I did not think I'd be at Noosa today. I thought I'd be like in
and we got
Gympie
flood
somewhere.
warnings for Noosa. Show us the flood warnings on your phone. And then for Noosa as well.
Yeah, so then we went to Noosa, and then we got another text saying Noosa's bad. But the reason is, there's going to be a heap of rain tonight, and we didn't want to sleep in the rooftop tent and have the risk of it getting flooded.
When we were at Gympie, we could have gotten stuck on Gympie.
Well,
and
the
then
Gympie had no caravan parks, and the only places you could park are those like on someone else's paddock. But you had to still pay like $30 to camp on someone's yard, essentially, with no amenities. And we wanted showers and stuff, and it's like, well, I don't know. Anyway, don't worry about it now. We're gonna have dinner and go somewhere nice in Noosa, and yeah, so let's just focus on that.
Bye.
See ya. Alright, so today we've woken up and it's absolutely bucketing down. I think yesterday or the last couple of days had over 300 mil of rain in this area. Roads are slowly becoming shut. You know, everywhere's slowly flooding. We're trying to get north to Hervey Bay before Gympie floods because, well, we can't find any accommodation in Noosa for tonight, and it's only like 10 o'clock. So we're trying to get out of the rain because there's meant to be more rain coming today. We don't want to set the tent up and get drenched before we need to jump on Fraser in 2 days' time.
Oh my god, Jesus.
Yeah, look, the water's like way up. So we just gotta we're just trying to hit the road while we can, because everywhere's essentially flooding, and we have got an accommodation booked in at Hervey Bay. So we're trying to gun it there. But if we can get through Gympie, I don't know, that's going to be the thing. Because we passed through Gympie yesterday, it was already flooding up high. We haven't got long, so we're basically just gunning there straight away, trying to get to Hervey Bay. And I still need to get back down to Inskip Point to get on the ferry, but we can't, there's nowhere to stay in Noosa, and it's all super expensive. So,
yeah, like we spent $137 at a
yeah.
hostel last night, and it wasn't clean. Not the doorknob fell off when we went in. The aircon was broken.
We don't want to be in Noosa. We want to. So we've got a cabin in the caravan park in Hervey Bay. Just keep us out of the weather, and then hopefully in 2 days' time the weather should pass. Like, fingers crossed. But I don't know. We'll just see what happens. The amount of rain is absolutely insane. We're having to slow down because there's so much of it. You can barely see in front. The windscreen wiper is maxed out. Can barely keep up. Like, it's literally that much. And because we're in Queensland, the bloody car fogs up every 3 seconds without the aircon on. I really hope those seals in the rooftop tent are working right now. So much rain. So we're heading through Gympie right now. As you can see, a lot of flooded bits. We're going to head over a bridge in a minute, I think, and we'll see how it's going. But it looks like we can get through at this time. But yeah, we'll see. Of course, out of the whole Australia, it has to rain right on us.
170 millimetres fell in the last 24 hours.
Yeah,
Alright, so on the right here is the Mary River, and as you can see, it's way up, and absolutely hauling water downstream at just so fast.
We pushed on to Harvey Bay in some of the worst conditions possible to drive in. We had this slight hope that maybe Harvey Bay would be a little less wet, but we weren't in much luck.
Well, I'm pretty gutted. Yeah, I don't know. It's as you can see, the weather's definitely not on our side this trip. We're here in Harvey Bay. We're staying at just a caravan park because it's literally rained the entire day, and not just like spitting rain, like heavy rain the entire 7 hours throughout the day since like 10 a.m. Rain everywhere, and it's like only 4:30 right now. It looks like it's like pitch dark. Yeah, it's pretty disappointing, but there's really not much we can do. Like you can't predict the weather, stuff happens. So we're in a little cabin because it's just too wet to pop the rooftop tent. It's too wet to live out of the car when it's just bucketing down like this. So you can't, like, it doesn't work with our kitchen setup and everything. It would have just been too hard. And if the tent had got wet, then when we go to Fraser, we're screwed. So it just sucks because like everyone I talk to around here, it never rains here. It's always great. And the one time we drive 2,000 kilometers from Melbourne, and it's just like the worst weather they've ever had. And I don't know, but we just gotta deal with it, I guess. So we're planning to still go on Fraser, not tomorrow, but the next day. Hopefully by then maybe the weather's turned a little bit better. It's still going to be super wet on the ground everywhere, but we're up here now. There's not really much else we can do but deal with it. Everything's already booked. We've already bought our barb tickets, already bought our campsites. You don't really want to like go somewhere else and not do it, so I feel like we're going to just do it and wing it. So that's a sit rep. I'm disappointed, but there's not much we can really do. So just try and make the most of it. Yeah, look at it. That's crazy. Good morning from Harvey Bay. So yeah, last night we pulled into Harvey Bay. It was raining literally the entire day, and we ended up getting a cabin just because I didn't want to set this thing up and have it be literal torrential rain and then that thing sogged by the time we go to Fraser. I mean, it might have handled it, but I don't know. This whole place was like flooding last night, so I doubt the rooftop tent would have been okay. I doubt any bit of canvas would have been okay last night. But it's a new day now. Blue sky is coming. I'm really hoping it stays like this the rest of the trip. The weather radar and like the forecast is still pretty bad for the rest of the week. It still says rain, thunderstorm. So hopefully this isn't just like a bit of a, tease. But I don't know. Basically, we're getting a car together because we got to work out what we're doing today. Today's our last day on the mainland. Tomorrow we head into Fraser. Man, it's hot up here. Like, I'm not used to this being a Victorian. It is like sticky and like warm, and the sun is just like, the rays are so strong. It's good though. It's awesome to finally have some sun. All right, so now that we got some actual sunshine, we're gonna have a look at this tent. Can confirm is dry inside.
Oh, that is amazing.
So it's got a bit of condensation underneath it, but the top mattress is all dry and all the corners seem all good. Yeah, this end seems fine. Alright, so while we do have some blue sky, I am taking the opportunity to sort of air out the tent. We have got a little bit of a condensation issue happening. I'm not sure if it's because it's like closed up so tight and there's no like air gap in it, but we're getting a slight amount of condensation. That could be from when we were sleeping in it, I'm not too sure, but there's a slight amount of condensation on the bottom, so I'm just sort of letting everything dry. This is the bottom mattress. You can see it actually is a little damp. Top mattress is fine, that's all dry. But yeah, there's just a little bit of condensation happening on the floor. And I don't know if this is because it doesn't have one of those just like anti-condensation mats, or I don't know the exact reason why it's occurring. Obviously, after opening up the tent, there was no rain inside of it. All the canvas was dry, which is great. And I mean, that's probably the wettest this is ever gonna be. Like this tent's ever gonna go through. That was the most rain I've probably ever been through in my life. So the fact that it got through that and everything was dry inside was a big thumbs up. And because I have done 2,000 Ks now up here to Queensland, it's also a good time to go over and check the car, make sure all the oil's all good, coolant's all good, check for any issues, because there's a lot of driving we do. Like you do it in like 4 days, so it kind of goes fast, but it's 2,000 kilometers. Like usually it takes me a couple months to do 2,000 Ks. So good to check everything, make sure everything's not leaking, all the oil's good, and yeah, this thing ran great. The 2,000 kilometers it drove, look, it wasn't hard driving, it's just highway stuff, but we were going, you know, decent speeds and a lot of weight in the car. It just handled it, no worries. It did a really good job. So yeah, so I've done a pre-check before Fraser, and we're all looking good. And because we are going to be doing a fair bit of beach driving, well, I went out and bought recovery boards. I didn't think personally I'd need them. I was pretty confident this, if I'd let my tires down, would be all good. You know, I have a shovel and all that on board. I'm up for the challenge of digging my car out, but everyone, like up in Queensland, like everyone's got a set of these in their car, and I just thought, I don't know, maybe it's handy just to have them just in case, you know, I get in a really bad situation, and I can keep digging, keep moving, but I'm not getting anywhere, and maybe these are enough just to build a ramp or get me out. And I also thought they might be good for actually leveling out the tent, like when we're off-road, getting the tent level might be handy to use these. I just bought XCM ones because they were cheap. I think 119 bucks or something I paid for them. I was gonna go Max Tracks, but they were like 260 bucks at BCF, and I'm like, I could buy like 2 sets of these for the same price, and I don't know, I'm sure that the Max Track ones are better in some regards, but I just thought for the price, it's pretty hard to go past it. And I could fit them in the back seat because the Max Track ones were pretty big, so these are easy, I can store in the back seat, and yeah, if I need them, I need them. If I don't, well, I don't, but it's good to just have them there, just in case. We've also today done a big shop up for Fraser Island, so thankfully we've got a massive fridge, so we're pretty lucky in like what we can bring. We can be real gourmet and bring a lot of things, so we're using this one as our fridge. Obviously got heaps of food in there. Like I wanted to make sure we had everything that if we did get stuck there a couple longer nights, it'd be okay. And then we've used the smaller bin as a freezer, so that's so we can bring extra bread, things like that, frozen food, frozen veggies, luxuries, like yeah, all that. So yeah, freezer, fridge. But yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome just having so much fridge space, plenty of food on board, and I'm aiming that yeah, we're gonna have enough around 7 nights. So that's plenty. There's shops on the island, worst case scenario anyway, so that's all good. Alright, so we're about to go on Fraser Island. Now, we're at Riverheads catching the barge over to Kingfish Bay, and we were meant to be, well, we were booked on to go at Inskip Point on the manta ray. But anyway, floods happened. I couldn't get hold of the office to actually get my ticket because I bought it like weeks in advance, and I couldn't get them on the phone, and I was meant to get down there today, but all the roads behind Gympie to Rainbow Beach are blocked off, apparently. Like that's what I've read online, looked on the QLD traffic app. So it was either I risk driving 4 hours down there and have the road be blocked off, or I just book basically on this ferry to go across, and then I'll go back via the Inskip barge. I wanted to go through Inskip. I mean, it is way cheaper. This is like 137 bucks to get both of us across on this, compared to, I paid 130 entirely for that whole Inskip barge there and back. So yeah, but I don't have a ticket, so I can't and I can't get a hold of them, so I don't know. Anyway, we're catching this barge, it's easy, we've saved a bunch of Ks, not having to drive all the way down there, and it was just outside of Harvey Bay, so we're all fueled up, watered up, got the groceries, ready to get on the barge and go on to Fraser, so I'm stoked, I can't wait, it's gonna be awesome.
Man, was it just a journey getting to Fraser Island. But now that we were on the barge, we could finally relax. The weather was looking good, I had good company, a fridge full of food, and I was so excited to start the trip on Fraser. But unfortunately, that'll have to wait until next week, so get subscribed because you do not want to miss the Fraser episode. It was probably the best camping trip I have ever been on, and I can't wait to go back with the whole crew because this place is incredible.
We're going on.